My name is Pam Spees, and I'm a lawyer with the Center for Constitutional Rights. I grew up in Lake Charles, and I still consider it my home. We at the Center for Constitutional Rights are honored to represent rural Roots Louisiana, Pastor Harry Joseph, and the Louisiana Bucket Brigade in a number of suits that we are filing to address serious concerns around transparency in the way the state puts its economic packages together when luring heavy industry into places like Modeste, Louisiana, which is a historic Black community in the heart of what we now know as Cancer Alley. The first case that we're filing has to do with a cooperative endeavor agreement that the state entered into with the Hyundai Steel Corporation. And in that agreement, the state commits itself to directly spending up to $200 million to assist Hyundai in locating in Ascension Parish, the west bank of the Mississippi River. And $100 million of that would go to purchasing land to give to Hyundai, basically, to operate its facility. And another $100 million would go to reimbursing Hyundai for its construction costs. And that's on top of $1.2 billion in tax exemptions that the state is offering to Hyundai in this agreement. One of the concerns we have is that this agreement was not approved by the State Bond Commission, as is required under the Louisiana Constitution. And so the plaintiffs in this case, Rural Roots, Pastor Joseph, and Louisiana Bucket Brigade, are taking the questions to a court to determine what should happen. And if the court agrees with us, and we think it should, it will have to declare this agreement null and void, and the state will need to go back and do it the right way, and in a way that ensures that taxpayers in Louisiana can understand what's going on and can speak to their concerns about it. The second case we're filing is against the Port of South Louisiana, and the reason for this case is that the port last year decided to issue bonds up to $400 million that would fund the construction of a dock and related facilities to serve Hyundai Steel and these other companies that are seeking to locate on the west bank of Ascension. And the issue there is that when the port did that, it was supposed to publish notice of that decision in the official journal of the state, according to the Louisiana Constitution. And the official journal of the state is the Advocate newspaper in Baton Rouge. The question of notice, whether it's done right and whether it's published in the place it's supposed to be published, is really critical. To notify the public so the public knows where to look for decisions like this, but also because if there are concerns about the bonds, if there are concerns that they're not being issued right or for the wrong reason or in the wrong way, there's only 30 days to challenge that from the date that notice is published. And because the port didn't publish that notice where it was supposed to, that's basically a violation of the rights of taxpayers. And so we're bringing that case to court as well, and we're hoping that the court will look at how things were done, and if it agrees with us, we're asking it to halt any further proceedings toward the issuance of these bonds until the port gets it right. The third case we're filing is a case against the Army Corps of Engineers. And we're filing that in Washington, D.C. And the reason for this case is that the Army Corps of Engineers oversees permits from companies like Hyundai Steel and CF Industries, which is a company that produces ammonia. And as part of that permitting process, any federal agency that is determining whether to issue permits has to take into consideration the effects that projects like this will have on historic properties and cultural resources. It's called a 106 consultation. And in this case, these companies, before they even get their permits, they're out on that property and they're undertaking major ground disturbing activities. And the concern is that these places where these companies are seeking to build were once plantations. And people who were enslaved, who were forced to live and work there, they also died there, and they were buried in cemeteries on these sites. And for generations, these cemeteries on these sites have been neglected by the parishes and by the state. And people who are descendants of people who were enslaved have not had easy access to them. They've not been able to really access and maintain them in the way that they should be. And the concern here is that all of these ground disturbing activities could cause damage to cemeteries that we know are there. So knowing that these burial sites are there The obligation is on the Army Corps and any other federal or state agency that's permitting to make sure that we locate exactly where they are. And in consultation with members of the community who are descendants of people who were enslaved in this area, and in particular the plaintiffs, rural Roots Louisiana and Pastor Harry Joseph, come up with a plan to protect these cemeteries in a way that honors the dignity of those who were buried there.